Two ladies, two women, Tasleen Otieno and Josephine Mwende, who are Nguvu Change leaders. And before we even get to know what Nguvu Change leadership is, a happy International Women's Day to the both of you.
Thank you.
Karibuni sana TV 47. And let's start with Josephine Mwende, because Nguvu Change leader is a very interesting title. And what exactly is a Nguvu Change leader?
Thank you for having us today. In Nguvu Change Leaders, we do it's an organization where supports leaders from marginalized groups who want to make changes in their communities, made to be health-wise, or that, yeah.
And you do this just in Kenya, or is it an international movement?
It's an international movement. It's not only in Kenya. There are those who are in India, Ethiopia, Nigeria, yeah.
Okay. So in Africa, it's you say Ethiopia, Nigeria, and India.
Yeah.
And you know, those are very different geographically. So yeah. I don't know. Tasleen Otieno. So when it comes to what you're doing as an individual, because Mwende told us about a movement where you try and help women from marginalized communities to make a change, be it in health matters or otherwise. So in as far as that is concerned, what are you engaging in directly? But before even that, who is Tasleen Otieno as a Nguvu Change leader?
Thank you so much, Fred. I'm Tasleen Otieno, a research and policy practitioner, and I'm happy to be here. And as a person, I am passionate about women issues and youth issues, and I've done a lot in the area. Recently, through Nguvu initiative, I was pushing for I was collecting signatures for a petition to allow comprehensive sexual education in schools. Yes, so through the organization, because it pushes for mostly petitioning, and so it was helping me push for the issue, because it's one of the things that I feel like is one of the things that are impeding the growth of women in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes, and in Homa Bay County.
And there's been quite some debate on whether or not to introduce sex education in school or sexual education in school.
Yes.
You feel that it's an issue of legislation, or is it community reluctance to have those discussions at the school level?
I think it can be both, because the parliamentarians have refused to work harder to understand what it really entails, and through them refusing to having it to adopt it also has pushed the community, because you know, communities have elected these leaders, and if these leaders are saying that this thing is bad for the community, then the community will of course resist it. Okay. Yeah, so I think that we should be a bit open-minded and give the community the right information about comprehensive sex education, so that they can let this thing go into school, so that we can have the change that we are looking for.
What about you, Mwende? Because you're someone who's navigating life as both a mother and someone living with cerebral palsy. So in terms of Nguvu Change leader, what exactly are you engaged in?
Personally, in Nguvu Change Leaders, I'm specifically doing equal health rights when accessing maternal services for women with disabilities, because there are a lot of discriminations and misconceptions when it comes to people with disabilities and motherhood. Yeah.
And is it an issue of legislation as well? Because there's so much discussion about the laws we have in Kenya. This discrimination that women and even people living with disability encounter at public health facilities and other facilities, is it because we lack proper legislation, or is it a societal or cultural issue?
I can answer this in two ways, because first of all, let me correct you. We don't say people living with, we say people with disabilities.
People with disabilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we talk about, we have cultural means where people tend to think if you have a disability, you can't be a mother, you can't be a father, you can't live your life like any other person who doesn't have a disability. And that's why I think there is that mentality that if you have a disability, you have some limitations as a human being.
Okay.
So I can say in Kenya we have some good policies, but now the implementation is the issue.
Okay,
yeah.
So the issue is the implementation.
Yes.
Is it the same challenge when it comes to sexual education, or is it specifically the legislation? Because it is a very touchy subject.
It is a touchy subject, and that's why it's not yet been passed. Everything is ready, but it's not passed, so it's not allowed in schools. So that's the issue, legislation.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the main issue, because right now you cannot offer the education in schools. It's illegal. So yeah, we are pushing it to be allowed in various schools. As
we mark International Women's Day today, there's also, at least if we look at the current situation we are in, the discussion about two-thirds gender rule is still very key, especially in the Houses of Parliament, because it's something we've not been able to do 14 years later after promulgating the new constitution. But there's a renewed push for that. And I want to get it from you. Do you feel that if that happens, if we're finally able to manage to ensure this is implemented in Parliament in terms of representation, do you think that the situations you currently face, Mwende, that probably that will be the beginning of change for that?
I can say that will be the beginning of change, because if we have representation in the Parliament, you know, I know if we're not on the table, then nothing about you will be there. So if we are represented in the Parliament, with the gender rule, and there will be representation of people with disabilities, I think now we will be talking a different story.
Yet there are women already in Parliament, and many people argue it's not that we lack women in Parliament.
Yes, we do have.
We have at least
what's the
47.
percentage? What's the percentage?
But what is the issue
if the percentage is small, then that means that whatever they are pushing for is very hard for them to pass it, even for the two-third gender rule. We've had issues where sometimes even the men don't even come to the Parliament. But if there were enough women to be there to vote for this thing, then it would have been passed already. Because right now we only have like 201 women elected in the county and the National Assembly. What if there were more? And even if just looking at what the women governors are doing, right now my governor, who's Gladys Wanga, is one of the best performing governors, and she's a woman. She came in with the woman's touch, you know, she knows what women want. She's looking into maternal health. She's looking into those things that the previous governor didn't really feel like was important. And she's done this, and has put her in the lenses, and now she's one of the best performing governors. So what if we have more women in the counties and in the national assemblies, and make sure that they push for more issues affecting women and even the men? Don't you think that we will be having a different Kenya right now?
Well, on the front pages of all the dailies, and you have them in front of you, we have that image of the G7. The governors, six currently elected governors. There's one former governor, Charity Ngilu, and the CS in charge of gender and cultural affairs, Aisha Jumwa. And they're talking about from G7 to G16, meaning that they're hoping that the number of governors will go up to at least meet the two-thirds gender rule as well. But do you think that will be the solution, Mwende? That simply if we change political representation and get more women in there, that it will be much better for women in as far as the issues that you're campaigning for right now?
For me, even if we have, let's say, 100 women, and there is no disability representation, nothing will change.
Okay. So for you, it is women with disability.
Yes.
That's closer to your heart.
Yes.
I can see you are also the CEO and founder of Able Rise Africa Society, which is a CBO, a community-based organization. What do you do? What kind of initiatives are you engaged in from that perspective?
Also, we do create disability awareness, because there is a huge gap when it comes to disabilities. Also, when we talk about cerebral palsy, personally, do you know about it?
Well, not much. I don't know much about it.
That's why we are doing advocacy and getting that awareness, so that maybe if you come across someone who has cerebral palsy, you will not tend to wonder, is this a real human being? But just have that attitudinal aspect of thinking. So that's why we are getting awareness. We are doing mentorship and also advocating for health rights and inclusive education.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for example, how many, what numbers are you looking at? How many women, specifically with cerebral palsy or other disabilities, are you working with?
Personally, at the moment, I always advocate for inclusivity.
Okay.
So I ensure we have each and every disability category represented.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Taslin, you make mention of Homa Bay.
Yeah.
And there's issue of teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
There are issues specific to the Fisher community.
Yes.
In that area. Is this the issues you're focusing on? Because you talk about sexual education being introduced in schools. But if at all it doesn't happen in school, does it mean that the problem remains unattended to? And what other approaches are you engaging in?
As an organization, we've done a lot of things since we cannot get to the children in school. So we usually run mentorship programs that run during the weekends and the holidays. We have sports just to get these kids in one place and let them enjoy, and also just to keep them busy, because one of the things is if you leave them with a lot of time, then they will engage in premarital sex. And we're also empowering them in different fronts, starting from empowering their parents, so that these girls are not engaging in sex for exchange for sanitary towels, and we're also distributing sanitary towels to them. So this year's theme for International Women's Day is investing in women to accelerate progress, and we have so many ways that we can invest in women. First of all is empowering them economically, making sure that they are educated, because if someone is not educated in today's world, then it's very hard for them to be empowered. So empowering them economically, socially, and politically. We also want women in these political spaces, not just elective posts, but also appointive spaces where they can air their issues and voice different issues that they have. And so through this, we also do civic education, just to ensure that more women are coming in the political space, not just to vote, but also not just to be elected or to run for elective posts, but to also support other women that are running for office, and also take part in voting, because last year we had only 38 of women who voted, which is very little, as much as we were screaming and saying that women are the majority, women are the biggest voters, but only 38 voted. So where are the other 62 or something?
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. But Mwende, there's so many things you currently engage in, but kindly, from your perspective and the kind of life you live as a person, with the challenges you have to bear with, paint for us a picture of some of these challenges that women, mothers specifically, who live with disability, for example, cerebral palsy, go through in the Kenyan context.
I don't know where to start because
just the basic.
Who for where?
Hey, who for yeah, who for where? Let's start with the transportation. That is a very great challenge, because you see, as a woman with cerebral palsy, most of us, our muscles are affected. So, like kupanda kwa matatu is a great challenge. So most of us, we do use Uber, and you can imagine how expensive it is. Maybe the transport you are using for a week or for a month, I will just use it for 2 days. You can imagine. And again, also the what can I say, the lack of awareness that most people are not aware of cerebral palsy. And this is the month of March, whereby we do cerebral palsy awareness and educate people more about it. So Another challenge is lack of awareness in our hospitals, in our different institutions. Also, you see, like some go to church and you can hear someone saying, "Suka muombe," you see such a thing.
Okay.
And also, when it comes to employment, who will employ you? Because you see, like I can say most of the time here in our country, whenever you go to look for that job, you know, at the moment you enter the office, I can ask you this question. If I enter in this room, what will you see first in me? Mm-hmm. What will you see first? If I just entered in this room, you know, many people will just focus on their physical appearance, not the capabilities, not the abilities, but most of the time they focus on your impairment.
Okay.
So that's another challenge.
Okay.
A big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you too face challenges,
Yes.
especially even in the work of advocacy. As a woman trying to talk about issues of teenage pregnancy, the cultural norms and cultural spaces or traditions that you are not allowed to cross.
Yeah.
Paint for us a picture of the challenges you go through as well.
As a leader or as a woman?
As a leader and as a woman leader, as a global change leader.
As an advocate, we face a lot of issues. There are some very sensitive issues that you have to really look at how you approach them when you go to different communities. One of them being FGM. FGM is practiced in Nyanza, mostly in Migori County. And so this is not something that you just go and start preaching and say, oh, it's wrong, because you're going to get a lot of resistance, because it's a cultural issue, and most people, even the women, some of the women have not seen the dangers in it. So you coming and telling them that it's a bad vice and it's something that's dangerous to even their health, then you have to really look at an angle and approach it at a very specific angle to make sure that it's accepted. And it's a behavioral change issue, so it takes a lot of time. Same way to how advocacy in HIV and AIDS and just talking about safer sex practices takes a very long time. So yeah, behavioral change advocacy is very hard. And then I would say that poverty has also been a very big issue, because how do you go and tell a woman to do this yet, or to stop doing this so that she can live a better life, but you're not giving an alternative. So yeah, so that those are some of the things that we are really facing. And some of the retrogressive cultural behaviors also, like in my community, I come from a county where we have a woman governor, and we've even a woman who's an MP, Millicent Odhiambo, who's an MP in her place of birth. But I come from Viwa, where we've never had any elected woman leader, because it's more patriarchal than the other sub-counties. And so as a woman, you're not allowed to vie in a place where you're born, because they're asking, how are you going to lead your fathers and your brothers? So you go and look for a friend somewhere to take you, and then you go and lead there. And then if you go there, then they'll tell you to also.
You're not from here.
Yes, so it's a catch-22. And so these are the things that we go through as women leaders. And so if you even join the political scene, some of the political parties don't even have policies for protecting women. And when you're in the political maybe campaign or whatever, you find that it's very easy to attack women, because most of them don't have the funds to get security, and so they are vulnerable. So you get attacked here and there. And yeah, there are so many issues. Lack of funds to campaign is also another one, and we've been advocating for the legislature, the National Assembly, to pass the Campaign Finance Act, and it has not happened, because if the campaign finance has been capped to a certain level, that it will give both genders a leveled playing ground. So that, yes, you don't have someone with 1 billion and you with your 500,000 and you're running for the same position. How are you going to even navigate?
It would appear we've placed such a premium on politics in Kenya, and the place of women in politics, because one day it's like we're saying politics will be the solution to everything. We get more women elected, we get more women as governors, we get more women nominated in the houses of legislature. But Is it true that that is the only solution we have? Get women into politics for them to be able to remedy the challenges that we face?
To me, even if I can say it will be a solution, because as I said earlier, if you're not there, your issues are not there. If you're not on the table where decisions are being made, then you'll not be represented. So I think even if it will not be 100% solution, but the situation will not be the same as it is for now. Yeah?
It's because I'm asking, there must be other spaces where women can get involved in away from political leadership.
Yes, but just to add on her point, politics is the distribution of resources. So it really runs the world, you know. So getting women into these spaces will mean that laws that are made are women friendly. But those are not just the only things that we can do to empower the woman. The woman, we can do different things, empowering them even in education, because just as I had said earlier, education is one of the things that inclines or places women in positions where they can become whoever they want to be. If they want to stay at home as caregivers, it's allowed. If they want to go out there and compete in the workforce and front, then it's also allowed. So politics is just one of the ways, but we can also say that other fronts like socially and economically are also there. But I think that politics is one of the things. But even comprehensive sexual education, why is it not in schools yet? It's because politicians have not passed it yet so that it can get to schools. So yes, I think that politics is one of the biggest players as far as policies and legislations are concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you come to the end of this session, Mwende, what can you say is the one thing that would be a game changer in as far as the issues you seek to address? That if this one thing happened, a lot would change.
For me, I think inclusivity to me is everything. Inclusion. Wherever we go, whatever we do, let's involve people with disabilities. Whatever thing we do, because you see, we are part of the society, and we are voters. So as we always say, there is nothing for us without us, and there is nothing without us. So inclusion is key to me. People with the disabilities, most of the time they come out and afterwards. So if we just remove that part of afterwards and we include people with disabilities in whatever we do, I think for me that would be a great change and a solution. And by so, people will come in terms, they will know that we exist, they will know our needs, and also let's just embrace, we should embrace diversity, and yeah, let's just support people with disabilities, and we don't need sympathy, all we need is empathy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And your final comments, Taslim?
Yeah, Mwende is such a powerhouse, you know. First of all, I want to say how happy I am for a bill that was passed yesterday on protection and care of child parents. I think that's something that's worth commending, and it's going to help the teenage mothers in the community to at least go further, like their education after they've given birth. So I think that's something. And I also want to ask the president what he meant yesterday when he said that in 2027 he would want to have a deputy, a woman who's a deputy.
Did he say 2027? Because that's the thing. He said in future.
But future, 2027 is the future. So did he mean the gubernatorial seats, or did he mean the presidential? And if he meant the presidential, is someone going to be kuoshwa, to be bathed? So we want it clear. And is it a good place to start? Because right now we have 16 governors, seven governors. We are looking into 16. But if we do it, like we make sure that it passes in 2027, are the men not going to tell the women that you guys mmepatiwa hii ya deputy, sasa simwache hii ingine? So we want it to be a bit clear so that we know. because we also don't want the deputy if we are not going to
You
be.
brought up a very interesting thing. Do you believe these politicians when they say such things? Because the president himself is a politician, and he has managed to put some women in cabinet. At least he has managed to meet that 2/3 gender requirement in cabinet. Are you feeling the weight now? There's a ministry for gender. It's set out in the cabinet with CS, Aisha Jumwa. Do you feel the consequences of that? Do you feel that women are now a better lot because there are more women in cabinet?
No, what I can say, this country cannot run without women. Women should be there in large numbers. And also, sometimes when politicians make these promises, you know, most of them, they just say it just to make you happy. But will they really implement that, what they are saying? No.
Do you trust what the president said yesterday?
He wanted to get us excited. He's very good at that. He did. People got excited, but I was not.
There was a lot of applause there when he said that.
But now the question is, will it be implemented? Will it come to pass?
And then, you know, for the cabinets, he had promised that he would get us 50-50. And then now we are happy about 2/3. So, atimize. And to add on my last point is the introduction of comprehensive sexual education. This is not something that's coming to spoil our kids the way it's being announced out there, but it's something that's coming to educate our children so that they know what to do and how to protect themselves, how to be self-aware, so that they can, if they want, they can delay their sexual debut, or if they are already involving themselves in in sexual practice, then they can protect themselves. And also knowing that having sexual intercourse with people who are over 18 is a crime, and anyone who asks them to do that should be jailed. Okay. So these are the things that this thing is coming to address, and also reduce the teenage pregnancy rate that has really skyrocketed. We also saw some research, whatever, that came the other day, that we have HIV prevalence actually in Homa Bay has even increased. So those are the things that this SCSC is coming to address. So if it's allowed, we just want to ask the National Assembly or the women leaders to help us push for it, so that, yes, women can get to where they want.
Thank you for that. In celebrating International Women's Day 2024, the theme is investing in women, accelerating progress.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Tasleen Otieno and Josephine Mwende. Nguvu Change Leaders, a very interesting concept there, Tasleen and Josephine. It is a pleasure hosting you on TV47, and once again, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Fred, for having us. Happy International Women's Day for the other women out there, and let's push for change.
Okay.
Happy International Women's Day to all ladies with disabilities. You matter, love yourself.